Hello there. Happy Star Wars Day, everyone. Today is May the 4th. It is Star Wars Day. It's your boy, Chris Chang here. And for those of you who may not know, I am a massive Star Wars fan. So today I decided to make a video because Disney decided to bless us with the second Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. We're going to get into it right now. I'm going to maybe break down some of these scenes, not frame by frame, but we're going to go maybe like section by section in this trailer. Let you guys know what you're looking at because some of you may not understand what's happening. There's a lot of new characters in this. There's a lot of new themes that are in this that we really haven't gone over or been introduced to in live action unless you're like a super nerd are going to know about and where I kind of think this show is going to go. So let's jump into the new Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer. Duel of the Fates immediately. Love it. All right, we got some stormtroopers with the fifth brother. They're coming. We got 3 Inquisitors.
Stay hidden.
Okay, so let's just pause it right here really quick, okay? Because this is like already brand new territory we're getting into. So these 3, what you're looking at right now, you're like, Chris, what is an Inquisitor? I don't understand what an Inquisitor is. These guys look like Darth Vader wannabes. That's pretty much what they are. So the Inquisitors, let's have a quick refresher. So episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Pappy is taken over the Republic, right? Turned it into the Empire. He executes Order 66, which is basically a directive for all the clone troopers to kill the Jedi that they're under the command of, right? Basically the Great Betrayal. So as this happens, certain Jedi turn to the dark side and they're manipulated to turn to the dark side from Palpatine. I'm assuming what happened probably in the background, which we'll learn in this show, is that Palpatine was kind of planting seeds with certain Jedi who were kind of already rogue or kind of like on the fence about the Jedi Order. And he's going to basically twist them into this organization known as the Inquisitorius. And all these guys become Inquisitors. So what is an Inquisitor, Chris? That's what you're probably asking yourself and asking me. Well, an Inquisitor is basically a Jedi that turned rogue and went dark and is hunting other Jedi. That's their main purpose. They do nothing else but hunt Jedi. And that's what we're seeing right here. We clearly see the Grand Inquisitor. He's the guy in the middle. He's like the head honcho. He's the boss of all the Inquisitors. He's probably like third in command from Emperor Palpatine, right? That's how you have to kind of look at it. So you got like Palpatine, you've got Vader and like the main generals, and then you've got the Grand Inquisitor, right? Right underneath it. And then you've got all the Inquisitors underneath him. So they're clearly looking for Obi-Wan Kenobi. This scene right here in particular looks like it's either Mos Espa or Mos Eisley. I'm going to go Mos Eisley because that's what Obi-Wan in episode 4 is more familiar with. And to me, we're going to see him later on in the trailer here. I think they're getting the scent of him. They're hunting him down. Let's keep it going. They're asserting their dominance. You can see it. You got Luke right there doing his best pod racing there.
Leave us alone.
When the time comes, he must be trained.
Like you trained his father.
Ooh, the burn. The burn.
You still want Kenobi. He's gone.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here because this is like a really cool scene that we're kind of getting right here. I'm going to go back a few frames. So what you're seeing right here with this, where we see what her name is, the Inquisitor Reva. She's a brand new character. We've never seen her before. And apparently she's going to be the main antagonist in this show. She's going to be the one who has a big bone to pick with Obi-Wan. We don't know why. My educated guess, if I'm being honest with you, is that she is either a former pupil or she had some sort of interaction with Obi-Wan back during the Republic days, right? And she really, she knows that he's still out there. And then she's picking up on his scent and she has like a bone to pick. She wants to go after him. But we hear in this scene in particular, as we're looking through the hangar of what's called the Inquisitorius the Fortress Inquisitorius, basically, which is the main hangout headquarters of all these Inquisitors. We hear the fifth brother saying, like, why are you looking for Kenobi? My opinion is he's probably talking to one of 2 people. He's either talking to Vader or Reva, one of the 2. I would lean most likely Vader. Vader has the biggest bone to pick with Obi-Wan, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised Reva because she is going to be the show's main antagonist. I think it's really cool, the scene we get of the inside of this fortress. We get also, as we continue on, we get these probe droids shooting out the top of it. How cool is this?
Maybe you've been looking in the wrong places. I want every lowlife and bounty hunter to squeeze him.
So I want to pause it here too. So this scene right here, like we're looking at right here, to me, this is kind of why I have so much hope in this show, despite how bad Book of Boba Fett was. With some of the Book of Boba Fett show episodes and some of the episodes in The Mandalorian, not many, but just some, you can kind of tell that these were made for TV shows. This shot right here really highlights that they are really pulling out all the stops for this show. This show looks super cinematic. We're going to see another shot in a few moments just of how big and sweeping some of these shots are and the sets are in these shots. They're putting money into this, but they're obviously putting a lot of care into this show, exploring different worlds, different scenes, different settings that we've never seen in the Star Wars universe, which I think is super exciting for Star Wars because, again, Book of Boba Fett, we went back to Tatooine. Even The Mandalorian at certain points, we went to different places, but a lot of the same kind of retreading of ideas and some of the things. I think with this show, we're really going to be diving, pun intended with this water world, diving deep into the Star Wars universe. Look at that shot. Kumail Nanjiani, like, I'm convinced. If you look at him really quick, I'm convinced. They haven't really announced what he's going to be or what his role is going to be in the show, but I'm 100% convinced that he's a Jedi. I'm telling you, he's going to be a Jedi. I think he, if anything, is going to be, I don't want to say the MacGuffin, but I think he's going to be the catalyst. I can see the show basically using him as the spark to start the fire of this show. I think the show is going to, which is going to lead me, let me just stop. I think he's a Jedi. I'll explain why later.
You can't run, Obi-Wan! You can't escape him!
This looks so good, guys. By the way, that Disney Plus animation, so sick. That needs to be the go-to Star Wars one, unless like for the Mandalorian they do like pew pew pew, like something with a blaster. But like anything that has to do with the Jedi and it's going to be a Star Wars show on Disney Plus needs to have that animation. Let's get into where I think this show is going to go and why I think it's going to be important. Because it's like, bro, Obi-Wan Kenobi just hangs out in a desert for 19 years. What's going on? That's what I think they're going to explore. Basically, if you remember and you recall at the end of episode 3, Yoda goes to Dagobah. Obi-Wan goes to Tatooine, and they basically remain secluded till Luke can become of age to train, right? Well, here's the thing. And what's interesting about this is if you look when they go to visit Luke, right, at the beginning of this trailer, and we see him as a young boy. In this takes place around 9 to 10 years after the Jedi Purge or episode 3. So he's roughly about 9 or 10. That's a little old, but not too old to start training as a Jedi, which is why Obi-Wan, and that's at the beginning of this trailer, hints at he needs to be trained. So I think in this show, some of the answers and some of the things that we're going to kind of get answered for this show are going to be, why was Obi-Wan so secluded? Why was he gone for so many years? Why didn't we hear from him? Where did he go? Why was he a hermit? I think we're really going to get the concrete answers to that in this show. I think without a doubt, we're going to figure out that he probably wanted to help, because in the first trailer for this, which we haven't gone over yet, but if you can go check it out, the Grand Inquisitor, you hear him talking about how, the Jedi can't help themselves. It's an itch they can't help but scratch to help people. And I think that's going to kind of be highlighted, which is why I alluded to earlier, Kumail Nanjiani, I think he is going to be a Jedi based on what he's wearing. He looks like he's wearing Jedi robes. I don't know that for sure, but that's what it leads me to believe. Plus, it kind of writes itself, right? You have this guy who's a Jedi on the run. Obi-Wan Kenobi probably knows of him or wants to help a fellow brother out, you know what I mean? And so he can't help himself. He's going to want to go do good. He's going to stick his neck out and bam, ball's going to get running. Inquisitors are going to get the scent of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and bam, we've got our show. So I think that's where it's going to go. I think basically Obi-Wan's going to want to help these Jedi out. He's going to want to help his brethren out, but he's going to quickly find out he's no match for the Empire. He's no match for these Inquisitors right now. He needs to bide his time, wait till Luke can get older, and then put all his eggs in that basket, which we know he does in the end. I think what's also kind of cool about this, which we've kind of already been told this, and for those of you not in the know, spoiler alert, Vader's going to be in the show, as you saw, but Vader and Obi-Wan are going to duel, which is going to add a lot to the lore, because a lot of like old school OT fans were really upset when they announced that Hayden Christensen was going to come back. And when you bring Hayden Christensen back, which is the guy who played Anakin in the prequel trilogies, you don't just bring him back to put him in a suit and keep him behind a mask. You're gonna show his face. So I'm thinking, like I said, they're gonna show flashbacks of Obi and Annie. By the way, it's Obi-Wan and Anakin. They're going to show flashbacks of Obi and Annie as Padawan and Master. I think either that, or they'll do something like what they did with Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, with the interfaces when he was behind the helmet or the mask. I think they're gonna do something super cool like that with Hayden Christensen. I think it would be really cool if we got to see what it was like behind the Vader mask, and like seeing Hayden Christensen all scarred up and burnt and disgusting. Or the third reason why I think you bring him back is you have this scene, right? So like, follow me here, right? I'm gonna get really nerdy, really sweaty. So we know that they're going to duel, right? How sick would this scene be where you've got Obi-Wan and Vader going at it? Bah, 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 bah. And like Obi-Wan doesn't quite know right now that Vader is Anakin, right? He has no idea. He just knows of this beast of a guy is just going down and hunting Jedi, right? How sick would this scene be, guys? Is if they're dueling and all of a sudden, now we know that if Darth Vader takes his helmet off, he can't breathe. He leaves himself super vulnerable and he could die, right? Especially if he leaves it off for too long, which is what we see in episode 6. How sick would it be when they're fighting, they're going at it, and there's obviously a lot of hatred on both sides. You know, obviously Vader for Obi-Wan for cutting his limbs off and leaving him for dead on Mustafar. But, you know, obviously Obi-Wan not liking this cyborg who's just hunting Jedi down, right? He just takes his mask off, right? And all we see is this charred up, burnt, scarred face of Hayden Christensen. And he's like, look what you did to me. How sick would that be? That would hold so much power. And what would be cool too is we get that line in episode 6 where Darth Vader is talking to Luke and he's like, Obi-Wan once believed like you do. Like, we never understood, because you never see that in the prequel trilogy, like Obi-Wan, you know, urging Anakin that he's more man than machine. We never get that. And then we even hear in episode 4 that Obi-Wan's like, well, he's more machine than man. Well, we're going to get context to all of that. And I think that's what this show is going to do. At first, I was really against the duel between Vader and Obi-Wan, because I'm a purist, you know? You see that scene in episode 4. They meet together. Vader says to Obi-Wan, you know, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Like, we all assumed and we all knew, based on George's vision, George Lucas, that was referring to the fight on Mustafar, the duel on Mustafar where he lost all his limbs, right? Well, there is space for them to have a duel in between those two things. And I think that's what's going to kind of be cool. I think they're going to really pull on those heartstrings of two best friends, like meeting again, picking the wounds. Like, there's just so much history between these two. And you don't get that in the prequel movies. You really kind of get that in like the Clone Wars animated show and in the comics. Like, you really understood these two. It's not father or son. It's not even brother. It's some amalgamation of like a father-son brother relationship between Obi-Wan and Annie. And you get that betrayal. It makes that betrayal at the end of episode 3 so much heavier. But I think with this show, it's going to add another layer to that. Like I said, I also think we're going to kind of also figure out where Obi-Wan's been, why he went into hiding, you know, because this is going to take place. This is almost the direct middle between episode 3 and episode 4. This takes place, I think, 10 or 9 years after episode 3. There's 19 years between episode 3 and episode 4, for those of you who don't know. And so this is going to take place right in between. Luke's going to be too young to train, obviously. Well, not too young according to Jedi standards, but he's a little too young right now to be bringing out, which is why Uncle Owen is also protecting him. I thought that was a really cool burn where he's like, oh, you're gonna train him like you trained his dad? How well did that go? So I think it's really cool. I think it's super cool that Joel Edgerton, and then I forgot what the actress's name who played Aunt Beru, who played those two characters in episode 3, are coming back for this show. It gives that continuity that like everyone loves and appreciates if you're a Star Wars fan, right? We don't have to look at new actors. We get the originals, we get the OGs, and we get them aged up. It's been 14 years since episode 3. So it's kind of cool that we're kind of getting almost a year for year continuity between the real world and this show with these two characters. Thirdly, and lastly, where I think this show is kind of going to go and explore is Obi-Wan and Yoda were not the only two Jedi at the beginning of episode 4. There were other Jedi out there. I mean, if you even go back and you watch episode 4, it almost, the way George wrote it, almost made it seem that Obi-Wan was the only Jedi. And then we get in Empire Strikes Back episode 5, we get, oh, no, there's another person. There was Obi-Wan's master who's still around, Yoda. I think with this show, it's going to be like an onion. We're going to get another layer of, there are other Jedi out there. They're going to be in hiding, and they're probably not going to adhere to the Jedi code like they have in the past. They're probably going to manipulate it, change it, and alter their lives so that they can survive in this galaxy where they're being hunted. So I think, again, Disney's not stupid. We have to look at this as a business decision. You don't make this show just to give people an answer of where Obi-Wan has been. Any show like this to plant seeds, to pave the way for another show in the future, or to set up where you're going next. That's how I think Lucasfilm is learning from Marvel. I think they've been like, okay, we love what Marvel's done. They're obviously a juggernaut in the industry. They know what they're doing, especially as writers and as storytellers. I think Lucasfilm is just on board. We know that Kevin Feige, the head honcho over at Marvel, has been helping Kathleen Kennedy and the creatives at Lucasfilm work on this Star Wars universe, correct this ship where that's gone literally astray. And I think what they're doing is they're going to be planting seeds for the next show. I think they're creating this whole, I don't want to say cinematic because that would be for the movies, but just use cinematic as the best use of term. They're creating their own cinematic universe for Disney Plus. I think they're going to be planting seeds of Jedi that are rogue, that have been out there, Force users, I should actually say, because they're not going to be Jedi. I don't think these people are going to be Jedi. I think the Jedi, like we were told in episode 4, were gone. They were eliminated. They were weeded out by Vader and these Inquisitors. And I think what we're going to be introduced to are light side Force users who are former Jedi who have chosen to lead a slightly different life than what the Jedi Order ascribed to. And I think that's what this is going to kind of set up, because we know we have the Ahsoka Tano show coming up. We've got another season of The Mandalorian. That's just the ones we've announced. Who knows what they're working on? So to me, I think this show is really kind of going to set up where we're going with the Star Wars universe. I'm really hoping, if I'm being honest, because I was not a fan of the sequel trilogy, I'm really hoping that this show is a course corrector for everything. I'm really hoping that we really kind of get the homages to the original trilogy, which I'm kind of feeling from this, but we're also going to be exploring a ton of new territory. So I'm super pumped for this show. I hope this video has been enough to get you guys excited for this show. Were you interested in this show? Was this something that was on your radar? If it wasn't, is it on your radar now? Drop a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you like. Hit like. Let me know if you want me to do an Obi-Wan reaction when the first episode comes out, if this is something you're into. Let me know also if you want me to do more trailer reactions. Are there movies that you're into? Are there shows that you're into that you want me to react to or kind of give a little synopsis on? I'd love to do that. I'd be interested in do that. I want to know what you guys think. Until then, may the Force be with you. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.